5 years on the East Coast, it was time to go home.
What's up, fellow rushers and draggers? After spending the past year being mentally ill, I have finally gotten home with the milk to spew putrefaction and make Llanera great again. Now allow me to quickly bring you up to speed if you've been out of the gameplay loop, like I have. While I was away, some sort of ancient Chinese wizardry took place, and we are now living in a timeline where mods in the first 3 games is a cursed but sexy reality, which means I'm now able to bring you the freshest of challenges. Beating Kingdom Rush 1 on Impossible mode, created by Voduke and Vez'nan enjoyer. Now it's worth mentioning that this mode is designed to make you bust out every guilty pleasure and freaky fetish you can possibly think of. But you already know that I'm old fashioned, so I don't need no Poopatron, Thug Shaker or Wise Mystical Tree to beat this so-called impossible mode. By the way, I haven't played this mod yet, so I have no idea if this is even a reasonable proposition. Rules: Kingdom Rush 1 towers only, impossible mode and no lives lost for all stages. And I'm doing the elite stages right off the bat. Let's see what Voduke has cooked up for us.
Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical.
Really? Don't tell me what to do, doggy. You can't stop me from ruining my Kingdom Rush experience. King Dennis has gotten his homeland invaded. It's almost like history keeps repeating itself here. Dennis, you really need to get your act together. Your foreign policy is dog shit. Nonetheless, you know me, I'm available 24/7 and always down for some bloodshed. Now, I won't lie to you, I was kind of cocky going into this challenge. And out of all of the levels, I didn't think that Southport was going to be the one to humble me. But hey, I'm always open to new experiences. Coming out of that level, I took no chances and whipped out the triple bombard and pulled down the skirts and the outskirts, and that's a sentence. Seriously, what do you expect me to say for these first couple stages? The hardest thing about them was spending my stars, because I have no idea what I'm buying. If you can't defeat them, confuse them, I suppose. Okay, fine, I'll just get meteors. At least here I know what my money goes to. And this is why prostitution is superior today. Now on Twin Rivers I kept losing, and you may think it was due to impossible mode starting to catch up with me, but no, I had just unknowingly picked up the habit of insta-calling every wave from watching too many Christian Ortega streams, so I unprogrammed my brain and played it slow. Now who the heck touched my Wrath of the Forest? And it was here where I realized that these towers ain't vanilla, since they have been rebalanced. So in an attempt to salvage this run, I quickly hit up Mr. Cortez on speed dial to ask whether he could provide me my special needs, and he proceeded to tell me that I was shit out of luck. But you know what? Most of these KR1 towers has been nerfed anyway, so we will just carry on. Wait, when did I lose a life? My short attention span was furthermore being proved by me somehow taking even more tries to finish the stage. Or maybe I underestimated the super buffed matriarchs, cause I'm like the only person who isn't afraid of spiders. But let's cut through the BS for a second here. I was kind of expecting to blast through these main campaign stages, but we are starting to rack up some stars now, so things should be getting easier, right? Wrong. All of my hopes and dreams was totally shattered when I suddenly found myself being raw dogged by the BDSM maestro. I was starting to wonder that for once was a reason for locking away a difficulty option. Nah, I'll give it another try. Okay, never mind, this is literally impossible. We got a lot of business days left in this challenge, so let's not use up all of my stamina here and just like switch to another save. After a bathrooms visit amount of time, the boss finally decides to do right by me and agrees to letting me use his body for manufacture of a new and improved gate to the Citadel. Now, because I switched to a fully bricked saved, Cold Step Mines turned out very awkward. I damn near soloed it with spells and Illyria and almost felt bad for the enemies, who probably had been looking forward to finally standing a chance against me. Don't be hating on the homie. Hate the difficulty balance for being out of whack. Now I have to ask, who thought it would be a good idea to give me access to buff Malik?
Can't touch this! Can't touch this!
I'm about to act up. The Sasquatch better hold me back, or I'm gonna start deviating from the mission here.
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
For the next stage, Dennis thought it wise to partner me up with the weird kid in the front, also known as Bo Fartlayer. And laying it down thick, he did. For he has swapped the musket with a semi-automatic rifle and shelved his useless mines for Lego bricks. But before I get ahead of myself here, I have to remember that this is a boss stage, which means the difficulty is going to spike higher than my wrist when I get my hands on the cobras. After the rude awakening at the Citadel, I felt like I was prepared for anything, so I checked my surroundings and noticed double amounts of canines. But according to my calculations, it was going to hold, so I assumed the coast was clear to turn my attention towards the snow monkey's massive health pool. But after so many hours of Kingdom Rush, the enemy's HP was hard-coded in my brain, so I completely forgot that the Yetis were now lore accurate. And if you happen to not have heard the news, then Yetis are extremely durable winter beasts that can damage multiple opponents simultaneously. Anyway, to make 10 sentences one, I lost. So I tried again, got a surprise drop in from a rocket rider, had a strategy epiphany, hand fed the gorilla at the zoo before putting him on ice to be dealt with later. Now it's time for the wastes.
I do not recall any of that.
Forsaken Valley?
You do recall it? No, I don't recall that at all.
Now, this being the final stage and shit, I was kind of hoping the heat was gonna be turned up, so I didn't mess around and picked Pleakley right off the bat and showed Vez'nan my ass. My head started spinning when I found out the lava elementals actually are deceased Dark Knights and Demon Lords. What massive ramifications this has to the Kingdomers lore. And also ramifications for me, cause how am I going to extract myself from this kind of soup? Before we find out, I just want to take some time to appreciate the creative ways this stage has been made more difficult. The rock was pulled out from under me again when the third portal started spitting out 8 demon hounds. Anyway, I decided to sell one of my rangers for some shrapnel, and then I just let Elora rip. Decided to limit test a bit, and it turns out I had so much stalling I didn't even need Rain of Fire. However, nearing the boss fight, I could just feel that something wasn't quite right. Just like my dad, whenever somebody messes with the thermostat. Ah, I see how it be. Vezi has upped his calorie intake and bulked his HP up to a respectable 33,000. Lucky for me, I already knew his weakness. Double Sandcastle Man. After a little bit of this and a little bit of that, Nanny transformed into his persona as usual. And it was here where I decided to once and for all sit him down for a brotherly talk, so he could stop being such a weirdo and become a functioning member of society. And miraculously, he listened.
I quit being a furry.
After 5 years on the East Coast, it was time to go home.
Upon firing up the post-game, I quickly came to realize that me and the Musketeers were going to form a partnership akin to power companies and economic crises. Well, let's get serious for a second here, because it was now time to throw down with the average McDonald's customer, and this motherfucker straight up pulled a drive-by on my unsuspecting buttocks.
I woke up in a new Bugatti.
As it would appear, he had gotten a new method of propellant to move his lazy figure. But with this information now duly noted, I was encouraged to drop some more shrapnel on the board and give it another try. But the second attempt wouldn't prove to be much better. I was quite simply awestruck watching this dude flawlessly drift his cart around aisle 14. Practically, I had already given up on this one. But to my luck, this buffoon couldn't resist stopping at the KFC drive-thru, which was conveniently placed in the back. And this would ultimately be his fatal flaw, as he had no meat shields to protect him from my tower's unloading on him. Now, because I beat the boss way before I expected, the game decided to throw me a little mini game to pick my brain instead. It took me a little bit, but I found the solution. You gotta clear the batch of spiders before any new ones show up, and then you can exit. Following that anticlimactic experience, I decided to spend the afternoon chilling in the ruins of Akeroth. But something unthinkable happened, which completely ruined my vibe.
Damn straight, we're gonna cheese. Oh.
No! Polymorph actually has a weakness now. You see, because almost all enemies has gotten their speed boosted by 20%, clicking a Polymorph Wolf was now a task only fit for the Geometry Dash Spam Challenge community. Later that day, I spotted some goblin looking dude who was riding a massive hog, and I thought it would make a good midnight snack for our king, so I went the extra mile to retrieve it. He better drop me a 5-star review after all this. Now let's stop avoiding the Austrian Shelob and her lair. Naturally, she is the most corpulent boss in the game, so I could only imagine what kind of HP pool she was going to sport now. But on my way to her, other difficulties were encountered. Once again, I underestimated the Yeti's territorial instincts in their natural habitat. Huh. I must have forgotten that they are extremely durable winter beasts that can damage multiple opponents simultaneously. A rookie mistake to make. So I try-harded some more and over-prepared for the ominous final fight. And I'm guessing that Duke must have made some sort of typo, but I can imagine how difficult it is to type with pause, especially when you already have beef with technology. Now it turns out that Sahelgas has stayed hungry to devour, put in the work, put in the hours, so I actually didn't over-prepare for her. But I did, however, under-prepare for the other side, which was currently in a similar state to my ass after I ordered Indian. So to prevent the leakage, I swiftly sent over my number 1 to deal with the situation. But it was already too late, and circumstances deteriorated. Well, let me tell you something. Elora might be a Starbucks type of basic girl, but she certainly ain't no basic bitch in combat. And I believe I now have to buy her a sugar gift after saving my ass in this one. Now, Glacial Heights is definitely a stage where I had to lose focus at the end and let 3 Pathfinders get within pissing distance of the troll DJ, who blasted that mainstream radio garbage. And this is why the trolls deserve the war that broke out. Mediocre taste is a sin I can't forgive. You'll listen to some Megadeth. and you love it. The rest of this mini campaign was all downhill. Wait, no, uphill. Actually, I hate these expressions. The comparison don't make sense. When you're going downhill, it's easier on you than going uphill. But this is used to express a situation that gets worse. What is that logic? So yeah, let's just say I committed troll genocide and skip ahead to the boss fight to see what we got. 48,000 HP. Oh, you know, just another day on the slope. Nothing a little later than some holiness can't fix. After about 3 straight minutes of scalpel precision micro, he starts to drain. And apparently, I bullied him so hard with the strat that he decided to cease his existence. Upon seeing that the Treants had received 800 health, I knew that the boosted up bozo that I am was going to be out of his depth here in a minute. Now I get giving enemies a little HP, but spawning creepers out of the toxic pool was uncalled for, Voduke.
Shit. What the? Are you serious? What does he? What the fuck? This isn't fair. How the fuck am I not dead?
Never have I needed the wise mystical tree more to school a herd of tree trunks in the peaceful ways of the forest. Especially for the boss fight, when the entire screen is going to fill up with them. You better have gone easy on Green Monk here if you expect me to.
Wait, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is this, man? Look at this!
Nope, this stage is just one of those you have to process a little bit, you know, just let the strategies marinate up in the brain a bit. Oh baby, it's Rodwig time.
Oh shit! Alright!
But now it was time for my favorite level in the game. And by that, I mean the worst level in the game. But hey, at least it only wasted 26 minutes of my time now that all enemies are faster. Next up, we got a stage that I don't even recall the name of as I write this. Like with the 2 previous stages, I pretty much played on autopilot and paid more attention to Christy Burr's lovely voice than my gameplay, which was going to cost me on the final wave. But in my defense, I would just like to add that if this Lycan wasn't on crack, I would have killed him in time. So I beat the stage again. Now I flew Castle Blackburn hard and made it all the way to the Lord himself on my first attempt. I was really out here thinking I just dodged a bullet and didn't have to play this Dolesville stage 10 times over. But of course, I had to mess it up because, and you're not going to guess this, he too has been buffed. And as I feared, the floodgates were now open for the fast to ensue, and so it did. Quite frankly, it took me forever to get back there, only to throw the entire fight before it even began.
No way, bro. I called the wave fucking first. Oh my god, I hope that doesn't matter. Oh my god, I gotta play this fucking level again. Okay. No. No! Stop! Why? Wait, I got him! Oh, okay! No, I shouldn't have said anything, man.
Gaming is intense, but talkies are seriously intense.
I can't fucking focus. I've been playing this too much. I fucking lost my mind. I fucking hate this level.
So I took a break, came back, blasted Immolation, Dawn of Possession for probably the 3rd time that day. Dropped a fair dose of freedom and democracy on Lord Blackburn's sorry ass and called it quits for the day. Hey, why didn't I do the easiest mini campaign already? Ah well, if I didn't check enemy HP bars, I would probably not even have noticed a difference here. I pretty much played the stage how I always have and smashed that shit on my first try. Pandemonium took a little more adjustment however. After 2 failed attempts at the 3rd wave, I figured I would just drop the load and the buff spawns instead of the lords. And that was pretty much all this challenge amounted to. And with that, I believe that Fungus Galore is now a go. Now this stage, normally a complete pushover. However, on Impossible Big Bosom Bitches mode, this shit was now an entirely different Pornhub category. With Husks having 100 extra hit points and the obnoxious Creepers also having a whopping 400 health on top. This beginning was now tight and took a bit of finesse to get over. Now I won't lie, this was one of the few stages I watched Trippy B stream, so I knew I was in for a real wowzer at the end. So I thought I could just make the smart decision and persuade Geraldo to invest in my stocks. But I was quickly hit with regret as the naysayers just trimbled his useless level 3 broke ass down. So for the time being, I decided to outsource the responsibility to my go-to middleman, Django Unchained. Now with the boss fight we had a bit of a problem. I had forgotten how his foot fungus infestation works, probably because I usually destroy his acne-ridden face without a second's thought. So I was out here thinking that ganging up on him was a no-no, just like with Moloch. which led to some silly shenanigans. But after carefully studying his behavior, I learned that these crosspaths up here is a ceremonious no busting zone. And when taking full advantage of this boss fight is actually not so bad. On top of this, the streets were vacant at this time of day, so there was no interference with insta-killing the boogermen who thought they could sneak out to backdoor me. And that's all stages. Except Rotten Forest, of course. Guys, do I really have to? Okay, fine. I'll give it a few tries. Now I predict that Green Monk needs Jesus, but immediately upon making that suggestion to myself, I realized just how foolish that plan was. So the only other option is elementals. Now I know what you're thinking. That's even dumber. But hey, at least I can easily get rid of Swamp Things with insta-kills. So with some sort of framework for a plan, I set out to see where it would take me. And it pretty much just backed me up into a corner until all I could do was chant Auga, Auga, mommy, and hope Elora would buy me enough time to once again save me in a pinch. But if I could just thin out the treants, it would be a whole lot easier. It's going to work, just trust me, okay? Let me cook here.
Oh god, why did you all let me cook?
In all seriousness, I knew that this one was not going to be doable from the get-go, and that these attempts were superfluous. But I had to show you just how unreasonable this madness was. Ricky Dicky Doodah Champ can give this one a shot for all I care. It ain't gonna happen. It's kinda sad for me to come back only to put the L in impossible mode, but hey, at least that's 25 out of 26 stages complete. Now because you stayed all the way to the end, I'm going to give you a gift.
The darkest, most evil thing I can possibly think to give you. Nothing!
But nonetheless, I thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your time. Have a good day, and I will see you in the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.